Welcome to Comic Shop Talk. At least that's the name. That's a work in progress at this point. This is probably what we're going to call this show, but this is Comic Shop Talk episode 1. This is the show that will probably be getting together weekly. Me and Chris over here, of course, my co-host here on this new show, basically to talk about comics. So recently, if you know anything about me from the Late Night Chat Network videos or Late Night Chat, where I've talked about my hobby being all things comics, really at this point in time, just look around the room at some of the things behind us. I've talked about and have done podcasts on the hobby of comics for me and my interest in them. I do, monthly comic book hauls and reviews on Late Night Chat Network, of course, with their shows. And yeah, so Chris recently actually just getting back into the hobby as of recently, I guess reader back in the like 80s, 90s, Chris, I guess you would say, or
yeah, I was a big collector maybe around late 80s, early 90s, then kind of fell off for a bit, and just the last few months kind of got back in business, and we can start talking about some of these new issues out here.
Yeah, exactly. A good way to keep the conversation going, Chris. Yeah, as you mentioned, yeah, has just been reading new stuff coming out again recently, and we've already been talking about the stuff that we've been reading together. So I figured, what a great way to kind of get together and keep these conversations going about on the recent comics. Of course, we used to do weekly one comic time. Me and Christine here are on the Late Night Chat Network. Of course, she's fallen behind these days in terms of her reading. So, thankfully, I know Chris is up to date and current with some of the stuff that he's been reading lately. So we figured, what the hell, we'll give it a shot. We'll try this out. Try to, like I said, keep this conversation going here, hence the Comic Shop Talk here. So keep these conversations going about recent releases, things that we've been reading week to week, and things upcoming that we're looking forward to reading, So that's basically the kind of idea behind this show here. And as I mentioned, we're kind of still working with the title of it. I think Comic Shop Talk might be the one. I'm like in the ring of it right now, but if not, anyways, let us know what you guys think. If you do check out this video, leave a comment, hit that like button. Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And thanks for tuning in. If you check this out, honestly, we really appreciate it. And yeah, this is good. Just a good way for me and Chris to kind of, like I said, continue to talk about, our interest in comics.
Yep, sounds good. Looking forward to reading a lot of comics and talking about the ones we've read.
Yeah. So, okay, absolutely. So yeah, without further ado though, let's get into it. Basically, I guess the format of this show that we're going with at this point is that we're going to basically, talk about maybe the comics that Chris has read that I haven't read, that the comics that I've read, maybe he hasn't read. And then, kind of get together and talk about some of the comics that we've both read that recently has come out this past week. So we'll give a rating at the end of each one, kind of giving you guys an idea of how we felt about the issue, essentially. Give you an idea of how interested we are in it with it. We'll also let you guys know at the end of the episode, basically what we're looking forward to coming out the following week. So by the time we get around to reading those and talking about it in the next episode, if we were to continue, it kind of gives you an idea what to look forward to, maybe some suggestions of what maybe you guys can pick up if you're interested in looking for new things to read, right? Maybe, so you can read along with us and maybe check out some of the things that we're going to talk about, beforehand. And yeah, and then we're also going to let you know basically our pick of the week, our favorite comic that we read of this past week that has come out. And yeah, that's basically the format. So yeah, I may as well, without further ado, let's get into it. I guess I'll start us off here with one of the comics that I have here. So we're going to probably mention some of the comics that, I've read and he's read that we haven't both read. And then we're going to basically get into the things that we both read this past week. All right. So first off, let's get started with Hulk #1 by Donny Cates and artist Ryan Otley, written by Donny Cates. This is a long-awaited big release. Of course, Donny Cates is doing his thing over at Marvel Comics nowadays, Chris, as you know. He's writing a lot of the bigger titles, and he's one of their bigger, I guess, named writers at this point in time. And Ryan Otley, of course, who's done Invincible, worked with Robert Kirkman for a long time. He was actually drawing some of the Nick Spencer Spider-Man prior to doing this Hulk issue. I don't think he was right for Spider-Man. He never really fit a Spider-Man artist for me. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think he had the right style for that. I think this is way more up his alley because Invincible was a comic with a lot of blood and a lot of fighting. So, like, when he was announced as the artist on Hulk and a lot of creatures and a lot of, all kinds of kind of, out there type stuff, I was like, okay, this is a book I think that's more tailor-made for this artist, Ryan Otley. So, like, his debut at Marvel, he was doing the Nick Spencer Spider-Man, but the Nick Spencer Spider-Man came out like 2-3 times a month. He's not an artist that can keep up with that type of schedule. So they had to get like a different artist in there. And it just wasn't what I was really expecting out of the quality of his work, because you're doing a book like Invincible at Image for so long. It's like, every 4 or 6 weeks, you're able to bring out an issue. He has time to put this work out, right?
Sure thing.
Yeah. So like, anyways, his Hulk #1, I know Chris, he is going to pick it up. He didn't end up picking it up this week because it wasn't available when he went to the shop. But, without being too spoilerish, the premise, like the setup in this issue of Hulk is once again the separation of Banner and Hulk. In this, the Hulk has essentially designed himself to become some sort of a spaceship of sorts. Like,
the Hulk himself is the spaceship. He's not riding in a spaceship.
Yes, he himself
is the spaceship,
right?
Okay,
so wow. It's a pretty out there concept. Okay, that's what I mean. So it is very new. So I will say that aspect of it is new, but the whole aspect of, again, the Hulk Banner relationship isn't something new, right? Yeah. So I wish that the writers, honestly, like, and it may like become this as we go on with this story. I'm not really sure, but since this is only the first issue, but my first impressions of this is it seems like it's kind of familiar ground in the sense that Donny Cates is making it seem like there's a battle between the Hulk and Banner in terms of their personalities.
Those guys got to get it together.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, I'm just looking, I'm really coming off of the last run of the Hulk, which is like supposed to be like the biggest like change up in the Hulk status quo for some time, the Al Ewing run, in terms of the body horror aspect of it and the psychological shit that went behind it. I was looking forward to like a punch him up superhero type Hulk fucking comic, right? I just want to see him
get it back in the world,
right? Just let it get. I just want to see him kick some guy's ass. Like, why does it always have to be an issue between the Hulk and the world and the Hulk and Banner and their personality and this and that, right? Like, I think it's like, so that part of it, it's just like, it feels like familiar, kind of like, it seems like I've seen this before. We've done this before, but then he throws in the little twist of the Hulk essentially becoming its own spaceship. Essentially, he's got all this armor and attachments onto him.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a Weapon X sort of business there with those helmets and some wires and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So they kind of try to ease you into this concept, but it was like I was scratching my head at first. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here, right? So then, like, I'm getting into it. The first little bit, you see Banner inside behind in a chair, like he's Captain Kirk of the fucking Enterprise or something at first.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's so basically it's the Hulk on the exterior, Banner inside piloting the Hulk. And inside of Banner's, I guess, self-conscious inside of the Hulk.
Yeah.
He's got the rampaging, fucking out of control Hulk inside of him.
Just kind of keep trapped in a closet or something.
Exactly. So when he wants to turn it on and actually get the anger going and the strength going and fucking blast the fuck off,
opens the door.
Yes. So you got 3 versions of the Hulk all working with each other. It's a very far out concept, honestly. Like, it's like I'm very surprised because for Donny Cates being like, he seems like very comic booky, very superhero, kind of more to the roots of like, classic superhero kind of tropes and shit like this. This is a little bit more of a complex of an idea. So anyways, in this issue, you got the Avengers kind of discussing what's going on with the Hulk now during the due to the fallout of the last run where the writer left it previously, which I'm not too familiar with. I didn't read the end of the run as of yet because I'm reading it in trade. But that happened. And basically, Doctor Strange is trying to explain because he came, I guess, in his astral form to observe what was going on.
I don't know. Is he still alive or is he dead? I don't know. I don't know where this fits in the continuity of the
death of Doctor Strange.
Of the universe.
This must have happened before that version because this is the version that
maybe he lives.
That's true. That's true. This is there's a version of this that's not his past self that he's left in the Doctor Strange timeline, right? So he's talking with the Avengers. He's basically letting them know the lowdown of what's going on. Meanwhile, Iron Man gets into a fucking huge brawl with the Hulk during this time, like as the Avengers are basically discussing. Can you see that on screen there? Yeah, as the Avengers are discussing this, he's basically throwing down with Iron Man, who has his own kind of Hulkbuster suit that he comes at him with. And you know, there's a bunch of different Iron Mans that show up that are fighting him. He's only in one of them, of course. Yeah. And then and basically he throws down with him. He gets to the core of what's really going on with him currently, and as he's in his like spaceship form. And by the end of the issue, he kind of fucks off and blasts into space and basically says, you know, I'm not dealing with you guys. It's always the Hulk versus the Avengers, Hulk versus the world. Kind of on the outskirts, kind of on the outs with human race, not understood, not being able to be dealt with by most folks. So he fucks off into space once again, kind of like a Planet Hulk type.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's always this World War Hulk, Planet Hulk.
Exactly.
Everybody's trying to live up to this big story, but, you know, maybe they just got to, you know, write their own story.
Right. So, again, I will say a lot of familiar tropes going on with a bit of a twist of something I've never seen done before. I mean, the whole aspect of a Hulk behind a Hulk behind a Hulk, all in their own kind of place, is very strange. So, like in this issue, not only experience this, like, you know, mecha Hulk type creature, you got the banner inside of his head, along with the rampaging out of control Hulk in his head. So it's just like,
I don't know, reminds me of being John Malkovich or something.
That's right. Yeah,
you know, living inside your head, but I haven't read it yet, so I really shouldn't comment.
I would love to hear your opinions on it next week if you end up picking it up and checking it out. Just as
in there, and we'll see what I got to say
as a follow up, because maybe I just didn't clearly understand it, because like it is a very intricate kind of setup. Like I was not expecting it. So very familiar, but at the same time, a little bit different than what you would expect from a Hulk story, right? So I gave this a 4. Ryan Otley, the art on it was great. A 4 out of 5. I gave it. Ryan Otley, the art, like I said, is very well suited for his art style. I think he's going to excel in this Hulk run, especially if they keep it to a monthly schedule, unlike Spider-Man nowadays. I think he's going to do great on this book. I think the art it suits his style a whole lot better than Spider-Man did. But yeah, it's a very interesting start, good start. But it wasn't like it felt a little familiar at times. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 for this one. Go ahead, man.
Okay. So the first comic I'm going to talk about here is the Symbiote Spider-Man Crossroad number 5. I think it's, I don't know if there's only 5 issues or something.
I think so. Yeah.
But this is the end of the story there. You know, I'm a big fan of Spider-Man, big fan of Black Suit Spider-Man. And for someone that's just kind of coming back into the comics, it's very familiar to see all this stuff. You know, the story itself, it's a bit of a throwaway story, you know. It doesn't have anything to do with the universe as it is. It's not earth changing or anything, but it's nice to see. You know, we had some characters here. Got Black Cat, Doctor Strange is in there, and I think the big villain is the Queen Nord. And they threw in a few other characters. I think Odin showed up in this one, and some other things. But the drawing or the art in this story was great.
Greg Land on art, and Peter David wrote this one. Yeah, old school writer of Spider-Man.
Yeah, right? At least in every issue there was a nice, a full spread of Black Cat there. You know, doing what she does, standing up, looking great.
Yeah,
you know, a lot of action, and I thought it was a nice run to read all 1 to 5, and I'm happy I read them. And I'll just give it a little quick there. I give this a good 3 out of 5, a 3.5 out of 5.
You read the whole miniseries. You actually ended up picking the back issues?
1 to 5.
Okay,
this is where
nice.
it kind of got to. It's one of the first comics I picked up once I started reading again.
Okay, cool. I've read the previous miniseries that have come out before this. I'm looking forward to reading this one in trade. I've really been enjoying them. I mean, they're kind of like stories that are being told in this time period that didn't necessarily take place originally in the timeline, but they're kind of taking the liberty of telling stories during that time period.
Yeah, like I don't want to be cynical there, but it's nice. You know, it's a nice story, but all of a sudden, an Eternal shows up with Spider-Man. Oh, wow. Let's see. Eternals movie came out during that time.
Right.
Oh, Doctor Strange is there. You know, Doctor Strange and Spider-Man didn't really mess around too much back in the day. And all of a sudden there he is. Oh, the Hulk's in there too. But, the Hulk and Spider-Man, they've messed around before. So that's always nice to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I look forward to checking out the trade of that. I think there was about 3 miniseries of these symbiote Spider-Mans that came before this one, 2 or 3 of them that I've read in trade now, and they're all pretty fun. They're kind of fun.
Yeah, it's like fun stories that aren't part of the continuation. You know, you kind of let them do what they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so next up, I got a comic that I read this past week is Harley Quinn #9. This is a Fear State tie-in. This is written by Stephanie Phillips, art by Riley Rossmo, which is, I mean, for me, the main reason why I picked these issues up. Riley Rossmo, his art style is kind of unlike anybody else's in the comics industry. He did a lot of indie stuff prior to actually working for DC Comics. I don't think he's worked for Marvel proper as of yet in his career, but he's just got a very unique style, very cartoony, very different. Every book he did previous to joining DC was in a different style. I've really liked his stuff. It's kind of scratchy and messy when it has to be, and also kind of cartoony and different and odd looking when it has to be as well. I'm a really big fan of his art. This issue, though, since it's a Fear State tie-in, I gotta let you know, like, I'm not huge on the Fear State tie-ins at this point. I'm not huge on Fear State at this moment in time either, even though it is in the middle of wrapping up at this moment in time. But for me, this was just like a 3 out of 5. I thought it was just like, again, the art would put it on another level for me. I'm glad to be reading it because of the artists involved. The Harley Quinn story outside of Fear State has been not bad so far. Christine's a big fan of Harley Quinn, so we always end up picking up her solo series. But I wouldn't say it's nothing amazing for me so far. There's been some interesting aspects to the story leading into this tie-in of Fear State, but I'm really at this point I'm in it mostly for the art. So I think I would give this a 3 out of 5 just based off of story and maybe even a boost for the art. I mean, I may even give it like a 2.5 if it wasn't for the art of this one. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of the tie-ins to Fear State, especially with some of the other Bat books.
I think Harley Quinn, she could live on her own and do whatever she wants to do. They don't need to tie her into the Bat family or Batman anymore so much.
Yeah, I know she was a big integral part as Fear State. She was helping Batman's crew during that whole event. I know she was stepping up. He had all the Harley and Ivy type stuff going on in Fear State. If you guys have been reading that actually happens in this issue too. She does meet up with Ivy to kind of tie into the Fear State kind of bigger storyline that's happening at the moment. But again, if you're not so much into the event itself, you're less invested in the tie-ins as well. Yeah. What it does is it interrupts a good story that could have been happening potentially prior to the tie-ins actually occurring.
But I got to say, there was a good panel in
Nightwing.
Was it Batman or Batman 117? The last Fear State with
117
with Harley and Poison Ivy, where they
finally get together and have a kiss. It was.
That was a nice panel there.
I mean, that artist though.
That artist,
Jimenez,
I enjoy the cartoony art there, but it's always good to get some nice realism art there.
That's where you kind of more lean towards, you would say, right?
I've read some of those the previous Harley Quinns, and I think it's great.
Yeah,
but it's good to get and that one.
Jimenez is very good. Yeah. Jimenez is very good. I can't argue with you there. So yeah. All right.
Okay. We're gonna move on here. I got a Gunslinger Spawn 2, or is it Gunslinger Spawn? Yeah, well, Gunslinger Spawn 2. This comic is fucking great. This guy is we got some Western guy pulled out of time, pulled into the present time, and he's met some little kid there, and he just gets the best part of this comic there is it's not so much the action, it's just the man at a time sort of business.
Okay.
Like he's in some sort of house there and he sees a toilet. He goes, he's one of the funniest things there. He's talking about how he doesn't understand why there's a toilet inside the house. Cause he goes, why would you want a toilet inside here? He doesn't understand sewers and all that.
There's outhouses at that point.
Yeah,
I guess.
He's pulled out of time.
Sure.
But the art again, once in this story, what's this, an Image comic?
Yeah.
Todd McFarlane, I don't know if he's doing the art in here or not, but it's under his supervision. It's all great.
No, I doubt it's him on art.
I think it might be in this cover. He might have done something in this cover.
He usually does the covers, but not the interiors these days.
Yeah, but it's
he always has great artists on his books.
Yeah, this is all he's watched. It's under his watchful eye, and
exactly.
I know there's some angels in there or something. They're ripping off wings. Great stuff. It's a $2.99 comic. It's a quick read, but it's worth every page. There's always something good going on in every page. Whenever the action's in there, it's big action, big stories and a little bit of fun there.
So is this basically the origin? Are you saying that the man that they're showing out of time is becoming the gunslinger Spawn? Though, are they showing?
No,
he
was a Spawn back in the Midwest or whatever,
okay,
or in the, I guess, in the Western times,
right?
And he got pulled out of time into the future to where into now.
So he was the Spawn at that period of time. Of course,
Yeah.
from reading Spawn a little bit in the past, like I know that there was obviously like the medieval Spawns and like this Spawn. So this was the man that possessed the Spawn at this moment in time, but now he's getting pulled into our future.
He's pulled into the present. And there's a little reason why he's pulled into the present too.
Okay, but there's a Spawn universe book too going on, I believe, right now.
This is where it's leading up to.
Ties in, right? Okay.
I guess supposedly the Spawn now, I don't know if it's Spawn or somebody has the power to bring all the Spawns
together
in this timeline to fight who knows what.
Yeah. You know what? This is the most exciting storyline I've heard going on in Spawn in a while. I know like some people have been down on some of the storytelling chops that have occurred in Spawn in the past, maybe because they don't feel Todd McFarlane is the best writer at times.
I'm looking forward to this. Scorched is coming up, and that's I think that's the Spawn series or the Spawn team up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy to see she Spawn. I don't know much about her, but she looks great.
Yeah.
And then, like say, medieval Spawn. He seems to be a funny character.
Yeah. Or is it called
Spawn?
Dark Ages Spawn now? Because
or whatever.
Yeah, because
I don't know. I think everybody's still calling him medieval Spawn. Maybe they don't got the rights to it, but
because of the Neil Gaiman suit. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Because they went to court over that because he introduced Angela and medieval Spawn, but it's essentially medieval Spawn, Dark Ages Spawn, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, exactly. All right, cool.
Anyways, I'll give this a 4. You know, when I was looking at it before, I thought this would be a 3, but the more I talk about it, the more I liked it.
Nice.
That's a good 4 out of 5 there.
That's not bad. All right. All right. Next up, we got Decorum. This is by Jonathan Hickman, art by Mike Huddleston. Of course, Jonathan Hickman, the writer behind the basically the architect behind the new direction of the X-Men over at Marvel Comics. He went off and did a lot of his creator-owned stuff through Image. He recently came back to Marvel a couple years ago when they kind of did the new direction with the X-Men and all that. You know, his creator-owned stuff is a little bit complex and out there. Some of the concepts that he's presented through some of his other things that he's done, even some things that he's done, honestly, in the X-Men stuff he's done. I think you either love Hickman or hate him. I find like you're either into his style of writing or not. I've quite been enjoying Inferno as of lately, though. I think as he's kind of finishing up his time on the X-Men, Inferno has been good so far. But whether or not he's going to actually tie up all his loose ends that he had started in Powers of 10, House of X or whatever is yet to be seen. We'll see about that. But this was a little 8-issue miniseries. This is the final issue 8 of Decorum. It was okay. I don't feel that he stuck the landing so much on this ending of the issue. I think it kind of, I was a little bit confused at times reading this miniseries. I'm going to be honest with you. There were some large concepts in this. I don't think I really understood even at the end here of this miniseries. I think the art was very interesting and well done by Mike Huddleston. It always kind of changed styles throughout the storyline that he was telling to kind of fit the story that was being told. I mean, look, you got this art here. Just give you a preview of it here. Okay. And then there's that style. And then in the same issue, you got something that looks like this.
Ooh.
So they're all very good arts and interesting art styles. You know what I mean? Like, and it is a well put together book, but I kind of lost the thread a little bit towards the end with this last issue. I don't know if this is all going to read together like better in one book. The hardcover is going to be coming out soon. So for anybody that is a Jonathan Hickman fan, I will say this is very Hickman-ish. If you like some of his stuff, you like some of his out there concepts, and if you're kind of maybe will read better together in one chunk. But this as a standalone issue, as the end to this mini series, I got to give it again. I'm going to say a 2.5. Unfortunately, yeah, I didn't love the ending. Yeah, you know. It just didn't really come together for me at the end, and I felt there was many fun moments along the way of the 8-issue series, but when it came to this last issue, it didn't click for me, Hickman. I'm sorry, man. So there you go. That's Decorum issue 8.
Okay, well, the next comic I'm going to talk about here, I bought this solely on the cover. This is Iron Man. I don't even fucking know what. Iron Man 14. I don't know. I guess you got some cosmic suit here or something. It's an Alex Ross cover. I believe that I don't know. It doesn't look like a freaking Alex Ross, standard one. Usually he's got these superheroes, kind of aged a little bit and looking pretty grizzled. But
yeah,
I think it's still an awesome coverage just off the top. I read the comic, it's the first Iron Man I've picked up in ages. He's going through some stuff in there, a little bit of a metaphysical journey for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was interesting enough to read. And, hey, it looks good, read good. I'll give it a 2.5. Not a big Iron Man fan, but I do like the cover.
And because I've been reading this in trade, I think I'm only read up to issue 10, and if this is number 14, it's probably finishing out the most recent arc. But I believe Korvac is still the main villain of this kind of.
Well, the big reveal at the end of this issue is that Iron Man's he touched that whatever the cosmic cube or the power cosmic, whatever they call it, and so did Korvac, and
they recreated reality.
The big reveal is nope, they're gonna fight soon.
Okay.
They got to fight each other. I imagine that's why that's why he came up with this armor.
Right.
Like, the reveal of the armor is great. Like it's on the last page and he's like, bang, hello, here I am. And it is something to see.
Okay. So he's like dreamt up a new piece of armor essentially, but the cosmic.
Yeah. Like I said, this might be all beyond me, but yeah, he's got some new armor there and he's ready to fight. So
okay.
That's always good.
Yeah, I look forward to catching up on it because I have been enjoying it in trade, but in single issue, I also dropped it. I wasn't digging the vibe, like you were just kind of saying. I'm not a huge Iron Man fan either, but I like the writer Christopher Cantwell that's doing it, so I figured I'd give it a try. But okay, that sounds interesting. Okay, so next up I got X-Men number 5, and I know Chris is also reading this, but unfortunately
I got a question about this comic here. Is there Captain Crapoa in there or something?
No, not in this
issue.
Okay,
my bad then.
He is going to be part of the new X-Men team. From
I heard there's a reveal coming soon. I thought it might be that one.
I don't think it was in this issue, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, I'm sorry. I think that was Sunfire. It's Sunfire at the start. No, so Captain Krakoa, I don't believe has
no cameo or anything about him, or they even mention him in there or something.
I don't think so. I know
it's something coming soon. I don't know who it is. I have no idea what.
No, you're right. But I've heard about Captain Krakoa happening as being a part of this team, but at this point, I don't think it's come to fruition as of
Fortunately,
yet.
I have the feeling it is going to be Captain Crapoa.
Crapoa.
But anyways,
name of this episode, guys, Captain Crapoa.
I think that's what it's going to end up being, unfortunately. But who knows?
Well, I mean, like, again, I know you guys have established your own society of mutants, but you really got to make your own superhero, Captain Krakoa.
Yeah, you don't got enough guys to choose from already? Like, holy smokes, come on.
I know these motherfuckers are resurrecting like all over the place. You can't like just name Magneto the captain or something like.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him captain. You can call him like fucking Mr. Krakoa. Or
yeah,
something.
I mean,
you gotta change that Krakoa. Anyways, go on. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's all right. Yeah, this issue was fine, to be honest with you. I mean, it's the mutants. Somebody that opposes them, they become across as a threat. It's basically them, addressing this threat to their team, this newly formed X-Men team. Of course, Polaris, who is Magneto's daughter, is the leader of this team, who was self-appointed through voting on the nation of Krakoa, which they actually had like a voting system that kind of came into place. And now I'm hearing that they're going to start another book called Secret X-Men, which is all the people that didn't get voted in that are together on a team.
Yeah, I've heard that.
That's kind of stupid.
That's
like,
okay. They can print it up. I'll pass.
Yeah, same.
Unless they fucking do something fucking super crazy in there, and I hope they don't. I hope they just fucking.
I doubt it. Series. I mean, like when I heard about it, I was like, okay, but I'm not. Yeah. I'm also gonna pass on that one. But anyways, yeah. I mean, this is again establishing their relationship between this newly formed team X-Men in light of the whole Krakoa new status quo as well with the human race on Earth. At the end of the issue, you get like a meeting between Cyclops and Ben Urich, the reporter.
Oh, yeah. That's an interesting going on there. That's
yes,
for sure.
That's an interesting kind of story thread that's going on right now, and you do get a little bit more progression in that side of things. and he's kind of investigating the fact, like, how are you guys resurrecting? Did you not
Exactly,
die?
yeah.
Like, because no, of course we know this as readers, that they have a resurrection protocol now, that they're able to bring each other back to life, but nobody else knows this at this point. Now these mutants have already established the fact that they have healing drugs, pharmaceuticals, that they can help cure diseases for the humans at their they're able to also roll out and help them. But now they also have solved death. So now Ben Urich is investigating this kind of thread of the fact
whoever's
that,
fighting the X-Men, they got to fucking find that resurrection pod and fucking just blow it to shit.
Exactly. So it seems like the whole status quo currently of the X-Men is slowly unraveling in this storyline, where it's going to pose an issue, I think, to the team. I give it a 3.5. I thought I like this book. Jerry Duggan, I trust as a writer. Javier Pina, who did the art on this, is also not bad. But I think that in terms of, other than that Ben Urich scene at the end, for the most part, the story kind of just went with the flow in this one. And I was just like, it was like kind of, so issue for me. So I gave it a 3.5.
Sometimes it's worth that, that few panels there with, something interesting going on.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. My next comic here is Deathstroke. What's this? Number 3. It's a nice, fun read. This was a bit of a
Deathstroke Inc. Yeah.
There's some, was it trust company or something that he's working for? It reminds me a lot of the Beyond Corporation, another nefarious or some sort of unscrupulous, company. But it's him here, and who's Black Canary? She's in this comic too. Mm-hmm. This one here focuses a lot of him. He gets, sucked into some fantasy world where he fights Cheetah, the one from Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, Cheetah. Yeah.
One thing there, I think there's one scene where there's a Cheetah soldier or something. Goes, oh, you got to fight 100 of us, and if he's gonna fight 100 people, I want to see him fucking standing over 100 dead bodies. But it is
Deathstroke.
Yeah, it is Deathstroke. I don't know if this is PG-13 or something, because I never saw that. But otherwise, the comic was the issue was a bit of a throwaway story. And with just a big reveal at the end that this trust company isn't trustworthy, let's say. And I imagine everybody knew that already. So it wasn't such a big reveal, but it's still a good read. I'll keep on reading this series. I'll give this a good 3 out of 5.
Okay, cool. All right. So now we're going to get into the books that we and Chris actually both read this past week that we'll be commenting on. So the first up, I'll start us off with DC versus Vampires, number 2 out of 12. Now, this is the new kind of like Elseworlds, kind of out of continuity series that's happening from DC Comics, kind of in the same vein, I would say, as Deceased that came out a couple years ago that Tom Taylor made very popular at DC. Was way better than it had any right to be. But again, because of the stakes that they kind of are able to play with and these kind of out of continuity storylines where big characters can die and big things happen, and it doesn't really have to do with anything with the current status quo of the ongoing, big main series of these characters, right? They're just telling like a little horror type side story with these characters, using them in the DC universe. So I'm a big fan of these type of series. I like when you're able to do this shit. I like seeing big characters get taken off the playing field. Like, I like seeing that and it not really making a difference in the main kind of day-to-day stuff that happens in the big books. I think this is where you can tell interesting stories by doing kind of stuff like this, right? So this is written by James Tinian, of course, very popular writer. He, I think, plotted this, and Matthew Rosenberg, I think, is the one writing it alongside him. And in this issue, for the most part, a big chunk of the issue dealt with the fact that Batman, having been delivered the message at the end of the last issue that the vampires are going to wage war with the humans, he is now bringing the whole Bat family together to not only suss them out to see if any of them themselves are vampires, and that he needs to make sure his circle is safe, but also to kind of let these guys know, listen, we're going to start the vampires are about to start a war with us. We need to be ready. What do you think of this, Chris?
Well, when I bought my pile, this was one of the first comics I wanted to read, so I was really looking forward to this. I'm not a big fan of the Bat family per se, but I did like seeing all the whole Bat family together.
Yeah.
I like Batman still being a jerk, trying to freaking, like you say, suss everybody out, give them what holy water. And
yes.
And there was a little play, like you say, with Alfred, kind of being a little sneaky, but I think Batman set him straight there.
Yes.
Are you sure? But the ending there, whoo.
Yeah.
That was a good reveal, that's where I'll pay for the reveal. It was a nice finish to the comic.
Yeah, I agree. I really did like this scene. I mean, should we spoil it? Should we let
I don't know. It's too soon. I don't know.
So the thing that we left with from the first issue was the fact that Green Lantern has already been infiltrated and has become a vampire. So that was already revealed in the first issue prior to coming into this one. So in this issue, you dealt with kind of two storylines. One, Batman kind of bringing the Bat family together, talking about this stuff, trying to figure out if any of this close family is a vampire. Like you said, he kind of drugged the key. He tried to put holy water in the tea that Alfred served everybody, and they met in the day, unlike the Bat family to do.
Yeah.
Just basically to prove that it was a vampire.
Not in the Bat cave up in the sunroom or something.
The solarium or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was funny.
So yeah, that was a good scene setup. But yeah, the end that Chris is referring to, I guess I'll leave it. I won't spoil it for you guys if you do plan on checking this out. But Green Lantern meets with the Flash. Green Lantern's a vampire. I'll leave it at that. So there is an interesting end to this issue because
you get to find out who some of the vampires are too. Because that's another, story in itself. Who's good, who's bad.
Yeah, Green Lantern is with the Flash. They're good friends. He basically comes to him and reveals the fact that he is a vampire at the end of the issue, and whatever happens,
hilarity ensues.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hilarity ensued in the first issue when he blended somebody to death, one of the Wonder Twins in a fucking thing.
That was good. Perfect character. Oh yeah, there something too about the other twin wondering where the one twin is.
Yes, because the Wonder Twins are so connected that she felt that her brother is not near her, so she felt weak all of a sudden. She's like, I can't figure out.
And it wasn't the Green Lantern trying to talk her down, saying, "Hey, don't worry about it. It's okay." Because Green Lantern is still in the Justice League.
That's right,
and they don't know.
Yeah, and Booster Gold came around. Booster Gold's like, maybe, he just needs some time to himself. I know you guys hang out a lot, right? Just basically saying like,
Right, where's the monkey? Is the monkey still there?
Of the Wonder Twins? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
I'm just wondering.
I don't think so. I haven't seen him, but I didn't read their solo series, so I'm not really sure. So, but yeah, some funny moments in this, some great moments. Actually, a great Green Arrow moment too, where he kind of came and attacked a bunch of villains because they suspect that the vampires are going to start infiltrating the villain group. Yeah, exactly.
Good few panels there too.
So he kind of comes up against 4 villains and says, "Hey, listen, there might be vampires amongst you." They all start laughing. He's like, "I think this guy's a vampire right over here." And they like look at their buddy. All of a sudden, he's like, "Ah!" and he just shoots an arrow in his fucking face. I was like, "That's awesome." Yeah. So like, yeah, it's building, guys. You know what I mean?
It's a good start. It's a good story. I like.
The art's good.
Awesome.
I like the art a lot. Otto Schmidt on art. Yeah. So I gave this a 4.5.
Yeah, easy 4. Easy 4 plus 4.5, whatever you want to talk.
Yeah. So
I give it a 4. I think it's still more story building, not so much action yet.
Okay. Yeah. So go ahead. You pick the next one, Chris. The ones we read.
Okay. Well, fuck. With the shirt on here.
Sick shirt, by the way, today. I really like that. I'm gonna have to step it up now on future episodes.
We're going to talk about Spider-Man 79 with looks like Craven's coming to dinner.
Yeah.
Wow. Let me talk to you about Spider-Man for a while here. I know if you know what's going on, then you know, but Spider-Man's in a coma. Ben Reilly's out there with the Beyond Corporation. Talked about him earlier. Not a big fan of Beyond. Not a big fan of Ben Reilly.
No.
Not a big fan of I'm a big fan of Peter being I'm not a big fan of him being in a coma, but I am a big fan of Peter Parker. Anything, while he's in the coma, any panels that have to do with it. I don't know how could that be the best part of a comic with some guy in a coma. But
they
otherwise,
have been.
Yeah, exactly. They have. Even when Ben Reilly's come to talk to Peter in coma, you can cut those things right out of that book. But otherwise, it was good to see it's still good to see Spider-Man floating around and doing what he does. it's good to see Craven. You know, even though Craven's on the cover, while I was reading it, I forgot it was about Craven.
And this is Craven's son nowadays. Like,
that's not the actual Craven. I didn't know that.
I believe that's his son. I believe that's the news. It's Craven's son now, I believe.
Yeah, like I'm just not sure if Craven understands that he's fighting a clone or if he's fighting Spider-Man himself.
I think he believes, at least from what I got it, he's fighting Spider-Man himself. Yeah. And for all, I believe that this version of Craven is his son, but he is basically Craven now. I think Craven's dead, and this is Craven now. I think. I might be wrong. I might be wrong.
Either way, it still looks like the old Craven. He's dressed like the old Craven, talks like the old Craven.
Yeah.
And it was good, you know. Hey, it's a decent story. I don't think there's no big reveal in the end. No, he just, well, boom, he gets...
He's going to start tripping out the next issue.
Yeah,
that's the big reveal.
Unfortunately, I got a little bit too much of that in the Fear State too. You know, that one issue where, you know, I got the Scarecrow drugs in Batman.
Yes.
So, you know,
it looks like, according to the next cover of the next issue, he's going to be hallucinating, and Craven shot him full of a bunch of drugs, darts essentially, and
herbs or whatever.
Yeah, and the next issue. Well, I mean, if you remember Craven's Last Hunt, the classic Spider-Man story, if you've read that before, I mean, there is a lot of hallucinogenics that kind of flowed through him during that occasion too, and that's drove Craven insane too, because he's obsessing about spiders. He has to become the spider to like beat the spider and all this kind of shit. So I'm getting vibes of that, but not to that degree. Not to that degree. Not in that, like, that is much better, is what I'm trying to say. This is nowhere near that. It is Ben Reilly. I believe they're trying to, you know, bring some of that Spider-Man flavor to this character.
I've seen some of the future covers. Now they're starting to make a bit more sense. Like, I think there's one where there's Spider-Man sitting on some watchtower and there's like spiders crawling all over him.
Yes.
You know, maybe that's making a bit more sense. Maybe I'm wrong, but
that is like Spider-Man. Craven's Last Hunt type shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes sense. I'm with Chris. I agree. I don't love Ben Reilly being the center of attention here in this current Amazing Spider-Man book, but like anything with comics, if you are interested enough to at least, or invested enough to continue with the storyline, it will change up eventually. This is not going to be the status quo moving forward I'm sure I think they're really just doing this until they reach issue 100, and they may introduce a new creative team at that point. This issue was written by Cody Ziegler, Michael Dowling on art. There's a revolving group of 4 different writers and artists at this point in time on this title. And Ben Reilly is going to be spinning off into his own 5-issue miniseries soon. So, like, I hope that they do away with him at the end of this. I'm with Chris. I'm more invested in Spider-Man Peter Parker. Even Miles Morales would be a better person to have in this book at this point in time. I'm not a huge Ben Reilly fan. I'm not a huge fan of the Clone Saga.
I take Miles Morales over this anytime.
Absolutely. So,
and when Spider-Man wakes up, it better be a fucking good reveal. This better not be just wakes up. Okay, here I am. I'm back now.
Yeah.
They better be working up to something on this to put us through whatever.
Yeah.
Double 3 issues a month of garbage.
Yeah.
They better make this pay off. Yeah. Better be a super awesome cover, a super awesome artist.
One can only hope.
Awesome story.
One can only hope. Absolutely. So what'd you give this?
Anyways, I'll give that a good 3.
I agree. I'll also give it a 3. Yeah, for sure. All right. Next up, we got the Death of Doctor Strange, number 3. Doctor Strange is one of my favorite characters outside of obviously like I think at this point in time, he may have established himself as like a B-list character, I think, with the movie and his place in the Marvel Universe, and maybe some of the great series that they've been coming out with for this character to help maybe support his cinematic universe place in the world at this point in time. I think that there's been a lot of great Doctor Strange stuff coming out the last couple of years, but previous to this point, I don't think he was ever like a major player. He's always in the mix, but I don't think he's like a Spider-Man or the X-Men or the Avenger. I mean, he's been a part of some of those teams. Defenders, obviously, very famously in the past.
I think he is moving up in the world, though.
Absolutely.
Like, these movies are pushing him.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is written by Jed McKay, art by Lee Garbett. I've really been enjoying this series. I got the variant cover of this one, the Doctor Doom on the cover. I really like this one, even though he has nothing to do with this particular issue.
Fucking kills me.
Yeah, but I do like the cover, so I ended up picking up this one. This was a good issue. I did like this. This focused a lot on his relationship with Clea. Of course, if you read old Doctor Strange comics, you know that Clea used to be like the mystic that used to work under him, but also that was his girlfriend essentially, but he's someone that he brought into the fold and trained. And I don't know if they were married. They were dating, I believe.
Yeah.
She was with him for a good while, I remember in the comics, but I don't think they were ever married. But they famously broke up, years and years ago, and they've kind of been revisiting it every now and then. It seems like she comes around out of nowhere. But this version of Doctor Strange that we're following in the Death of Doctor Strange miniseries, though, is an earlier version of Doctor Strange. So he looks like the old school, like 60s Steve Ditko kind of Strange Tales Doctor Strange in this story. So they're definitely doing this thing with kind of the look and the feel and the kind of way that he addresses everybody, that he is someone out of time. Doctor Strange essentially put a version of himself locked away that basically has come to their current day. Like he was supposed to emerge if Doctor Strange ever got killed, and basically he only has like how many hours?
He's got a week or something.
A week
like
to
that.
survive to basically basically right any wrongs that Doctor Strange had going on.
To figure out what happened to himself.
Exactly. So that's basically what he's doing right now. But in the middle of all this occurring, as he's trying to investigate who killed him, they have like these 3 other beings like that have come to Earth that are fucking with everybody in the Avengers.
Pretty much, yeah. Like since Doctor Strange died, his mystic barrier around Earth has dropped.
Yeah,
and I don't know. There's there's a bit of that story with all these what's that? The other, I don't know who, but all these other mystical beings are coming to Earth, basically to get protection from the Avengers. And from from Earth's heroes, because for whatever reason, Earth in the universe is some super powerhouse.
Plus, there's no Sorcerer Supreme at the moment as a result of Doctor Strange dropping dead. So they haven't assigned a new Sorcerer Supreme to protect the Earth. So
wasn't there something about him not being actually totally dead, or his soul isn't dead?
Right.
So they can't reinstate a new Sorcerer Supreme until
they
figure things out. So
essentially,
basically Earth is fair game or open for business.
So the last page of this issue, it says who will be the new Sorcerer Supreme. I think that's what they're going to be focusing on the next issue. But by the end of this issue, the big, I guess, reveal of sorts was the fact that he has tracked down Baron Mordo now, and he suspects that Baron Mordo is the guy who actually was the reason why he got killed. Like,
he might not have done it, but he's the orchestrator.
I think it's a red herring. I think it's just trying to set up something that isn't.
Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe we'll see.
Who knows? Yeah,
that's
I'm still down with the story.
Same. That's who the suspect is at this time. Anyways, I like the art. I like the story so far. I love Doctor Strange, as I mentioned. I like this a lot. I give it a 4. I really enjoy this.
I'll give it a 3.5. I gotta say about those stupid variant covers, though, that have nothing to do with it. I bought one of the variant covers for the issue before with what's that, Lilia Rasputin or whatever. Nothing to do. Not even in the whole story. But anyways.
Rasputin, you talking Magic?
Yeah, Magic. Yeah, she was on the cover. Oh, a variant cover of Magic. Oh, she's got to have something to do with the story. Nothing. Anyways.
All right. And our last one. There we go.
Whatever it's this. Number 19, Legacy, fucking 5 million. I don't know. They don't even got legacy numbers on this. But Thor. Beginning of a new arc. Beginning of a new story. I love seeing a cover with Thor with a sword in his hand, not a hammer.
Yes. It was sick. Yeah.
I think that was a great story, great art. I loved it. That's it. What's the beginning of God of Hammers? I don't know if they came up with this God of Hammers just from that one line in the movie where Odin says to Thor, are you the God of Thunder, or are you the God of Hammers?
Yeah, it's very possible.
Now all of a sudden, we got a God of Hammers or something.
It's very possible.
But I thought it was great.
Donnie Cates written, Nick Klein on art. The art and the writing are top fucking notch. I agree. This was a fantastic issue. Is really setting up this whole God of Hammers thing. There is a double page spread in here. And of course, my page got ripped out while I was reading this. That's how crazy this was. So I'm trying to hold it up for you guys here. There's an amazing double page spread in this. Nick Klein is just killing it on art. Out of all the books we read this week, this has got to be one of the the best drawn issues we've talked about tonight. It's just, I mean, he comes and saves his father because of course he needs Odin's help. Because once again, the hammers are causing the Thor issues. He feels without the hammers, he's not worthy. He is not fit to be king. Therefore, he's out in the world trying to kind of figure out what the fuck is going on. And of course, he needs Odin's help for that. Odin, who basically, became a shell of himself. He's no longer king. he was just a lousy old drunk in a bar somewhere previously
Yeah.
that he found him in one of the earlier issues of this run. And yeah, he basically came to bring him to help him in this so far. And he's like, out of all the times you fucked up, and you know what I mean, I'm coming back, and you're gonna repay the favor. You're gonna help me out essentially this time. So it's a nice coming together of father and son relationship. But they basically, by the end of it, they go to the dwarves.
Oh, yeah,
they go to the dwarves. They found a bunch of dead bodies as well.
Wherever they forged the weapons there, everybody's dead.
Yes,
I'm sure there's a fucking dwarf hanging around somewhere, but that's some big stuff going on. There's no reveal of who the enemy is though, or
not as of yet. No.
Yeah,
he's I mean, obviously we know about the God of Hammers because of the name of this arc, but he has not been showed or really alluded to
I thought
at this point.
I thought there would be a reveal in this episode or in this issue.
Yeah, no, not
of the God of Hammers, but even still, I was still happy with the issue itself without the reveal.
Absolutely. I gave it a 5.
I'll give that an easy 4. I'll give it a 4+, 4.5. I don't want to throw out those 5s too easily there, but
well, that would be the only one I handed out today because this is the last one we're talking about. So without spoiling it, jumping ahead here, I guess maybe that's going to be my pick of the week, essentially my favorite book of the week. But we'll get to our ratings, our final ratings here in a moment. Let's talk about what we're looking forward to checking out next week for you guys here. So this is the point in the show where we'll talk about things we're probably going to plan on picking up next week and talking about. So I don't know if you got your list ready there, Chris.
I got my list ready. I got a Marvel list here. Definitely Daredevil 36.
Yeah.
Let's see. Whoa. Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 80 for sure. Avengers 50. Death of Doctor Strange, Spider-Man #1.
Okay.
Looking forward to that. I think they got Ben Reilly and Black Cat floating around somewhere. Venom #2. And X-Men Trial of Magneto #4. I'm kind of falling off that story, but
same.
I got to ride it out,
Yeah,
it's X-Men stuff.
Exactly. And I mean, we're already 4 issues into a 5-issue miniseries.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. So I got Amazing Spider-Man as well. There's a lot of annuals coming out because the new comic week, at least for DC, is right before December 1st, and for Marvel is December 1st. So it's almost like it's a 5-week month for DC because they come out on the Tuesday, the new releases. Yeah. So that's why we're getting all the annuals. So I got Amazing Spider-Man. I got the Batman annual. I got Batman Fear State Omega coming out next week that I'll be picking up. Batman the Detective, which is the final issue of that series. I got a huge list next week, guys. So I doubt I'll be talking about all these, but this is my whole list. Daredevil, Deadly Class, Fantastic Four, Firepower, Human Target, Joker annual, Justice League Dark annual. The list goes on, guys. King of Spies, Magic Order 2. You're getting a lot of Image books in this week too for me. Marauders, Nightwing annual, Scumbag, and X-Men Trial of Magneto as well. Like Chris just said, I'm not too keen on the storyline at the moment either, but I will finish it out. So yeah, those are our lists for next week. Things we're looking forward to. Out of all these, though, I would say at least things I'm really looking forward to next week. I would say Batman the Detective. I'm looking forward to the last issue. Daredevil, which is just about to lead into that event. Devil's Reign. Yeah. Human Target after the first Fantastic issue. I'm looking forward to the second, as well as the first issue of Mark Millar's Image miniseries, King of Spies, with Matteo Scalera on art. I'm looking forward to that, as well as Magic Order 2, which is going to be a show on Netflix soon, which is his second miniseries. Mark Millar also is writing. So, and Nightwing annual. So there's, about 5 or 6 out of these fucking 15 comics here. I'm really looking forward to. It's going to
be another big week there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm looking for Action Comics that, like say, Fear State Omega. What else is there? Oh, the Justice League Incarnate #1.
Yeah,
that's gonna be another good one coming out.
Yeah,
and then I'm sure there's gonna be a Spawn or something like that, or Spawn or King Spawn coming out of Image.
Yeah,
those Spawn ones, I love them. All of them so far.
Are you reading King all the Spawn, current new releases of Spawn? Is Spawn Universe launched yet, or is coming?
I think there was a one-shot Spawn Universe, and then it's called Scorch, I think, which is going to be whatever reason all the Spawns got to get together and fight whoever they do.
Okay, cool. And so there's Gunslinger Spawn, King Spawn,
and Spawn.
And Spawn.
I'm not sure if King Spawn and Spawn are the same person or not yet. I don't know.
Okay.
Or if King Spawn is a different type of Spawn. Who knows?
I guess we'll
know.
find out soon enough.
Well,
Right?
maybe I just haven't figured it out. I'm not really looking to the
yeah. Okay, so for me, let's get into our favorites of the week. Like I said, I gave a 5 rating to Thor, so of course that's got to be my favorite of the week here. But I'll say as a second runner-up, I'm going to give it to DC versus Vampires. These were probably the 2 best things I have read this past week. I'm going to give it a slight edge to Thor on this one, though, for me. Chris?
Well. Yeah, I'm going to have to give it the Gunslinger Spawn.
Nice.
It was a nice little, it was a nice drawn comic there, and just the fun stuff of him being a man at a time and figuring out what's going on in the real world. That's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, that's always a fun concept. I do enjoy that. Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it, guys. Once again, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Let us know what you thought of this. We hope you enjoyed it. This was a lot of fun. I had a good time. I mean,
it was a good time. I was happy to talk about comics.
Yeah, absolutely. Comic shop talk, possibly as the title being for this episode, our first one out. And if we were to continue with this, guys, look forward to seeing this, on a weekly basis as new comics come out. We'll try to get a consistent day that it maybe drops on the channel here for you guys, but we're kind of still working out the details. We kind of just wanted to put this out here today and kind of see how it goes first and foremost. And then we'll come back and let you guys know about when these shows will be coming out. But it'll be between comic book release weeks for sure. As we kind of want to have this set up where we've talked about the previous week. We're talking about the next week, what we're looking forward to. And that's kind of the whole setup of the show, essentially. Right. So
that's it. Comics, motherfucker.
There you go. That could also become the name. We never know. Right. So there you have it. All right. Well, this is us signing off then. Thanks again for tuning in, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel and look forward to more. Thanks, guys.